Don't join the Black Templars!
Oh mein Gott, der Codex Astartes ist
Ein Bunch of Bullscheiße.
Sorry if my voice sounds a little funny in this video, I'm sick. So, yeah. Space Marine 2 feels like a game made in the 360 era. And I know that sounds like an inherently bad thing, but this feels like a game that you just sat down and had a bunch of fun with. It has a campaign, a PvP, and a PvE mode. Do you have any idea how rare that is nowadays? It's either all single player or multiplayer. There's almost basically zero in between anymore. So for a game to come out that has a good campaign, a solid PvE that ties into the campaign, and a weirdly good PvP, this game has absolutely no business being as fun as it is. The short and sweet of this game review being, it's an absolute W. Get it? W? Like Warhammer? Alright, I'm sorry. Now, this is a follow-up to the 2011 Space Marine game, the one I never played, but this is also a new entry in a slew of games set in the 40k universe, and I didn't know this before, but there's actually a lot of these games. Like, they have a kart racer. I'm not joking either, this is it right here. Now, if I'm being honest, I've never been a Warhammer guy. I mean, I've always thought of the lore was pretty interesting, but not enough to actually get me to sit down and play one of their games. But when my buddy told me that in this game you're basically playing as an 8-foot tall, roided out tank guy, I was all in. You can tell why. And dude, ever since I picked up this game, I've been doing nothing but learning more about the Warhammer universe. It's like diving headfirst into a massive, sprawling world that just keeps getting deeper and deeper the more you explore. I started with this game, but it quickly turned into an obsession with the lore. There's just so much to uncover, from the rich history, to the factions, to the intricate politics, and the endless battles. Every piece of it feels like it's alive. Dude, I ended up watching like 16 different lore videos, buying 3 books, and exploring fan forums just to soak it all in. I don't know how else to describe this game other than just plain, clean fun. It's like I said, this is a game that is a template of what games should be nowadays. It's just the complete package of just... And also not to forget the... But I think I've done enough yapping because I really want to get into all this game has to offer, and actually why I think you should pick it up. I'm going to keep the spoilers to a minimum, with the footage on screen being kept to some of the first campaign missions and some of the first operation missions. Because at the heart of this vast narrative is the iconic Space Marine, a genetically enhanced warrior born to protect the Imperium of Man from countless horrors. These superhuman soldiers, clad in advanced power armor and wielding devastating weapons, embody humanity's desperate hope for survival against alien, heretical, and demonic threats. In this brutal future, only one truth remains constant. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Let these wretches feel the wrath of ancient vengeance!
So we'll start with this amazing, albeit short, campaign. Space Marine 2 picks up a good bit after the first game, so if you haven't played it, no worries, you don't really even have to. It just sets up the tiniest bit of context for this game's campaign. We play as this guy right here, the embodiment of testosterone itself, Demetrian Titus. And without spoiling anything, his job is basically to help fight against the Tyranid alien threat, but there's a whole subplot about conspiracies and what I'm not going to get into because 1, it's spoilers, and 2, I barely understood it. Anyway, you are a Space Marine. Go figure, it's in the title. But to be more specific, an Ultramarine, a super buff, genetically modified dude who skipped leg day. Like, every day of his life. You can't jump. I'm assuming it's the armor. I don't know. He's decked out in armor that's bulkier than a tank and can probably withstand a nuclear blast. You know that one friend who shows up to the Halloween party in a costume that's way too intense? Yeah, that's this guy. But instead of a cape, he's got a giant chainsaw sword. You stomp through levels with your heavy bolt guns, powered sledgehammers, or literally just yourself.
Oh, fuck.
But there's some level of thinking to the combat, you know, you're not invincible. You have armor that acts like a shield system that deteriorates first before your actual health meter. So to get your armor back, you have to do these finishing moves, basically all the glory kill clips that I've been spamming throughout this video. For me, I found that melee combat is best for small enemy swarms, but ranged weapons and grenades are the best for dealing with bigger swarms and threats. The bigger enemies have these attacks that can be either dodged or parried, and to be honest, the parry window here is pretty generous. And it's really advantageous for bigger enemies because they're more vulnerable to those finishing moves I mentioned. So, as you can probably tell, there's a certain song and dance here. Your armor gets depleted, you get it back with finishers. The health meter is where things get a little tricky because that health is contested health. The moment you take damage, you have to do damage to get that white little health bar back up to full strength. The moment you lose that white bar, you are stuck with that health until you get like a health pack or something that can boost your health. The movement is pretty slow, like imagine God of War, but a bit slower. But I wouldn't say it's slow in an annoying way. The controls are still tight and a little clunky at first, but you get used to it very quickly. Every melee weapon here is different in their own way, with the hammer being the best for sweeping attacks and damage, but it's very slow, so if you don't like that, something like the chainsaw sword or the knife might be more to your taste, since both are very fast and efficient but can't do the same swarm clearing sweeps like the hammer can. The ranged weapons in this game are pretty amazing. You can feel every bolt that you fire, like the thump of it is just something else. They're heavy and leave an impact like nothing else I've seen in any other game. And as you get further into the campaign, you're able to use more of those different weapons, finding exactly the one that fits your playstyle. Speaking of the campaign, a little more here, the level design is pretty great. Like there are rooms in some of these levels that are just massive with distinct paths that let you know that you're about to get swarmed. And the swarms here aren't light either, like I'm talking World War Z type swarms. And that feeling of cutting down these endless hordes is something that I have yet to find in any other game other than Bloons, but I digress. Thankfully, this campaign is paced very well with the introduction of new weapons and abilities and just complete chaos. You've got infested forests to crumbling battle-scarred cities and buildings falling down and fucking sky beams. It's just awesome, dude. So in summary, you kill shit and it's pretty awesome. Alright, moving on. The multiplayer here is pretty good on its own, you know, it definitely needs more PvE missions and more PvP maps, but the roadmap already indicates that more of that is coming and a horde mode, so I'm definitely excited for that. All you gotta do is walk over to this little computer terminal and switch over to one of two multiplayer modes. You got Eternal War and Operations. Eternal War is interesting, you know, because it's just straight up deathmatch modes and it ain't too bad. Personally, I'm not the most competitive person, so I may not be the best judge on it. Operations is where I spent most of my time though, with 6 big lengthy missions that you can jump into with some quick matchmaking or with some friends. The operations are connected to the story, as I've said, and throughout the missions here, you'll get some dialogue from Titus. And the things he said in the campaign relate to the fucking mission, and it's just really cool, you know, they really didn't have to do that. Overall, the operation missions are a good time, especially when you jump into the higher difficulties. Honestly, it's just good fun. Mindless shooting and pillaging with friends. One of you playing Bulwark, putting down the banner to buff your teammates while you're playing as Assault to just slam dunk on Tyranids with your hammer. I don't want to spoil all the classes here since I want you to play the game for yourself and find out what vibes with your gameplay style best. So far, the progression here is pretty good, like I've had no complaints about it, with a lot of it being cosmetic. As you level up and complete operations and Eternal War matches, you get more customization. Think shoulder pads, helmets, colors, like bro, fuck the Space Marines, I'm a Space Ranger. Then there's the weapon masteries to level through, and to be honest, it felt really mindless. Like I didn't really have any point during my hours of playing where I felt like I had to grind to get to the next weapon tier, so there's a lot of stuff in Space Marine 2 to keep you busy. I just can't wait for those future updates because as the game sits right now, it's serviceable, you know, like you can sit down and play this game and have a pretty good time. But for me, I'm starting to feel a bit fatigued, I guess, playing the same modes over and over and over. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really can't complain though because all those future updates are gonna be free. Like dude, there's not even an in-game shop right now. I'm telling you, this game feels like it came out in 2011 and I'm here for it. I'm I'm not sure what else to say about this game other than it's just a well-made, fun experience of a game. It looks good, it feels good, and it plays good. I've never crashed once while playing this game, but I did get some frame stutters towards the end of the campaign, and you'll see why that is. Also, the characters' faces are a bit lifeless at times. I don't know, I feel like I'm nitpicking. But this game is 100% the gateway into the Warhammer universe, because let me tell you, I'm only hour 2 into the timeline video. The lore, the aliens, the different chapters, the Imperium and the Emperor, and all the fucking skulls, dude. Like, there are so many skulls in this game, and I don't know why. I'm not complaining, but I would love to know, why is there a flying baby with a skull on it? It's all really unlike anything I've ever experienced. Like, the only thing I can say that this game is like the old Transformers games, like the Fall for Cybertron and War for Cybertron games. Like, the gameplay and combat aren't the same, but the formula's there. I just want more of this game, man. Honestly, if you don't have any other game to play right now, or if you're just tired of modding Baldur's Gate, then really pick up Space Marine 2. Like, this is a fantastic package of a video game. But let me know what you think. I probably said something wrong about the lore in this video, and I'm probably gonna get some hate for that. But what's your experience with Warhammer? What chapter do you follow, you know? Like, what games have you played? Have you played the tabletop? Have you played the cart game? Because it looks pretty fun.